Mr. Schultz gave me two phrases that helped change my whole life. Let me give you those two phrases. This is worth more than the price of the seminar, what I'm about to share with you now in the next couple of minutes. Here was the first phrase. Schultz said, Mr. Rohn, if you wish to be wealthy, study wealth. Just jot that down. If you wish to be wealthy, study wealth. When he said that, I said to myself, my gosh, I don't know anybody that studies wealth. Where am I going to learn it? He said, never mind. Now that you've gone to work for me, get this little book, Richest Man in Babylon. He said, I will teach you how to become wealthy. I got the book, he taught me. By the time I'm 31, I'm a millionaire. I'm telling you, I recommend it. If you wish to be wealthy, study wealth. I would have learned it sooner, just didn't know. In high school, if they would have offered Wealth 1, Wealth 2, I'd have taken both classes. I wouldn't have waited until I was 25 and broke. Here was the next phrase. Schultz said, Mr. Rohn, if you wish to be happy, study happiness. What a revelation that was. I didn't know happiness was a study. My best hope for happiness at age 25 was to just go through the day with my fingers crossed, hoping some would make me a little happier. Not it. Happiness is not by accident. Happiness is on purpose. Happiness is not by chance. Happiness is by choice. Happiness is a study. Happiness is a practice. Happiness is not an account. It's not a bank account. Happiness is an art. And anybody that wants to can study the art of weaving their own happiness like weaving a tapestry, if you're interested. But isn't it sad to have the results and not the happiness? The answer is yes. Don't we all pity the father who's got the money but not the joy? Yes. A father who wads up a $20 bill, throws it at his son, and says, here, if you need the darn stuff that bad, just take it and get out of my face. How sad, a father with money and no joy. He studied economics, but he never studied joy. How to get joy from your substance. The man taught me well. Show. Happiness is an art, just like culture, just like sophistication. It's not out of the reach of anybody. Poor people, people of modest means can become cultured and sophisticated. Because it's not an amount. It's not an account. Rich doesn't do it for you. It's a study. I know a guy that's rich. He's a clod. The guy eats with his elbow in his soup. I mean, he's just a clod. Nothing much more pitiful than a rich clod. How sad. But how much is a book on sophistication in the marketplace? $40,000. No, $40. Everything's within everybody's reach in America. And in the library, it doesn't cost $40. It's free for the asking if you bypass happy hour and head for the library. If you want your life changed. Culture, sophistication is within reach of all of us. Happiness is within reach of all of us. But here's the clue. Happiness must be woven like weaving a tapestry. If you want a happy birthday, you got to weave it. A happy birthday is not just accidental, it's woven. With care. A good evening is woven with care. The good life is woven. An experience is woven like weaving a tapestry, if you're interested. Happiness is not a hope. It's a plan. It's an art. It's a learned art, and anybody that wants to can learn it. Happiness. One of my friends had a birthday party, Beverly Hills. His wife wove that party so carefully, it was one of the most extraordinary events I've ever attended. Everybody that was there will remember this birthday party for the rest of their lives. Why? It was so well woven. 10 o'clock at night, guy says, oh my gosh, this is my wife and I's anniversary. He heads for the drugstore, pick up some trinket. Not woven well. Come on. If you want a good weekend, you've got to weave it. Don't just hope it'll happen by accident and that you'll have some happiness. No, happiness is an art. It's an art form, and anybody that wants to can study it and practice it until you get so good at it, you can dazzle. Any father who wants to can dazzle his family with his present resources. You don't need any more resources. You just need to learn how to weave and not leave it to chance. Guy gets home, says, give me a beer, turn on the television, let's get happy. No, 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 no. Weave it carefully with your own hands. Put your own heart and soul into it. Now, sure, when you get more money, you can go more places, but it doesn't make you any happier. Happiness is a separate art from travel. Happiness is separate from anything else. Happiness is separate from economics. Happiness must be carefully woven on its own. Sure, I get to fly the Concorde now. You can get there faster, but you can't be any happier. You got to weave that. It is exciting, though, to get from, London to New York in 3 hours. And you meet some interesting people on the Concorde. My last flight, for the second time, I met Christopher Reeves, Superman. I said to my business partner, we're going to be okay. Superman's on this plane. Right? How lucky can you get? I met Henry on the Concorde. Henry Kissinger. Henry said to me, I've had an interesting day today. I said, what? Henry said, I had breakfast this morning in Paris, and he said, I just finished lunch here in London, and he said, tonight in New York, I'm having dinner with my friends with time to spare. You can only do that if you fly the Concorde. Breakfast in Paris, lunch in London, and dinner in New York. If you fly the Concorde, you can see 2 sunsets in one day. If you're in London and watch the sun go down, when you get to New York, you get to watch it go down again. 2 sunsets one day. But hey, until you can get to 2 sunsets, what are you doing about one? In the Leadership Weekend, we take this subject by itself and expand it. Here's the clue: how to be happy with what you've got while you pursue what you want. You don't have to postpone your happiness, because all that has to be done is woven with care. Don't miss the play we teach in the weekend. Don't miss the experience. Don't miss the extravaganza. Don't miss the book. Don't miss the game. Don't miss the symphony. Don't miss the play. Don't miss the movie. Save by value. Don't waste your time on things that don't count. Save up. Have an experience. Weave your happiness with care. And you can have all the lifestyle you can possibly handle for a lifetime if you will take this as seriously as you take anything else. Help a child to weave their own happiness. Don't leave them discouraged. Don't leave them in the dark. Don't leave them wishing for better days. Don't leave them wishing for better experiences. Take whatever you've got and fashion. If you've got pennies, fashion it with pennies. If you've got time, just fashion it with time. Whatever you've got with your own hands and your own mind. Study and practice the art of weaving your and your family's happiness. Don't leave it to the winds of chance and change. Okay. That is the 5 major pieces to the life puzzle. I hope it's been valuable. Okay, have you got all this? I got a couple more subjects to cover. It's too late now. Anyway, I'm sure you've got a better set of notes than I have, so. Now, before we take our afternoon stretch, let me cover a couple of subjects here rather quickly, because we cover them in detail. Much more in detail on that next seminar, and really much in detail on the 2-day weekend. By the way, if you don't get a chance to come to the 2-day weekend, remember, it's on those cassettes, Volume 1 and Volume 2. Some good stuff in there. And these 2 subjects are in there in more detail. But let me give you the highlights here to ponder and think about when you go home today. The first subject is personal development. Personal development is the challenge to see what you can become. And so started me with the challenge to see what I could become with that promise. Age 25, Mr. Rohn, if you will change, everything will change for you. I started that process at age 25. Now, I also want to tie personal development with setting goals. In the weekend leadership, we have what we call the Goals Workshop. It's called Designing the Next 10 Years. I'm telling you, you'll come out of it mind-weary because it's a hard workshop. It's tough. But you can't believe what you'll have out of that workshop, designing the next 10 years. But now let me just give you some highlights on personal development and setting goals. In teaching kids personal development, I start with money. Now, you can start anywhere. Show started with money with me. His first question was what? How much money have you saved, Mr. Rohn, and invested the last 10 years? Now, you don't have to start with money on teaching personal development, but in talking to kids especially, I start with money. Because you got to start somewhere. And it doesn't really matter where you start to find out if you're on track or off track. It doesn't matter where you start. And I start with money. Because number one, kids are interested in money. And number two, it's easy to count. Say, how are you doing? Say, I don't know, let's count. Now, I know that money is not the only count. I understand that. But if this doesn't count well, we better check your cardiovascular. If you don't have the disciplines to make this work well, you probably don't have the disciplines to make your heart work well, or to make your family work well, or to make your marriage work well, or to make your enterprise work well. One lack of discipline shows us we better look everywhere. And so I start with money. And it's one of the most intriguing ways to teach personal development, to kids especially, is to start with money. Here's what I teach kids. We get paid. Kids are all interested in getting paid, so here's what I teach them. We get paid for bringing value to the marketplace. That's about as simple an economic strategy as I can put to you. We get paid for bringing value to the marketplace. Now, it takes time. That's true. It takes time to bring value to the marketplace, but we don't get paid for time. Just put an X there. It takes time, but we don't get paid for time. Mistakenly, the man says, I'm making about $20 for an hour. Not true. If that was true, you could just stay home, have him send your money. No. We pay you not for the hour. We pay you for what? The value. We pay you for the value you put in an hour. Now, since that's true, here's one of the most important questions of the afternoon. Is it possible to become twice as valuable as you are right now and make twice as much money in the same time? Is that possible? Of course. That's a good way to emphasize something I like. Of course. Right? Title of my new book. Of course. Is it possible to become 3 times as valuable as you are right now and in the marketplace make 3 times as much money in the same time?
Of course.
Got me a few more converts here. Could you become 10 times more valuable than you are right now to the marketplace and make 10 times as much money in the same time? Of course. If you're interested. Now, I'm telling you, a lot of people aren't interested. America is unique. Here's one of the reasons why it's unique. It's a ladder to climb. It starts down here, what, $4 an hour. And then it's a ladder. Just keeps going up here like this. Top of the ladder last year. Top income last year, $80 million. The guy that runs Coca-Cola. Now, that's a heck of a ladder. Start down here, up to $80 million. No wonder everybody wants to come here, squeezing through the fence, riding in a rickety boat, doing everything possible to get here. Why? There's never been a ladder like this in the history of the world. Now, here's what else is exciting. There's plenty of room at the top. It's the bottom that's crowded. Down here. Now, here's what else is exciting. Last year, there was a big debate in Congress. Said that this 4 is too little. 4 is too low. It should be 5, should be 5, should be 5. And that's silly. 5 is already on this ladder. You don't need legislation. Well, yes, you would. If you're going to stay at the bottom for the rest of your life, it should be 5. But who cares where it starts? As long as it's a what? It's a ladder. It's not a bed. It's not a bed. You don't have to stay here. But if you want to move from 4 to 5, we don't need legislation. What do you need to do? Climb. And become what? More valuable. Why would the marketplace only pay somebody $4 an hour? Answer. To the marketplace, they're not very valuable. Now, to the marketplace, might be a valuable brother? Yes. Valuable member of the family? Of course. Valuable citizen in the country? Yes. Valuable in the sight of God? Yes. We're all created of equal value in the sight of God. But to the marketplace, if you're not very valuable, you don't get much money. You say, well, it shouldn't be that way. Well, go design your own country. You can change it. Here's all you got to do to get more money in the marketplace. Answer what? Become more valuable. Why would the marketplace pay somebody $400 an hour? Evidently, that's a good word, evidently they must be more valuable. Evidently. Now, why would a company pay somebody $80 million for 1 year's work? This person must be very valuable. Evidently. You say, well, $80 million, would a company pay one person $80 million for 1 year's work? And the answer is yes, if you're valuable. If you helped a company make $1 billion, would they pay you $80 million? I said, yes, of course, it's chicken feed. I got a telephone call not long ago. A company that's going to do some international expansion. Various countries around the world. And they said, Mr. Rohn, if you'll lend a hand for a little while, we'll add some millions to your fortune to help us expand internationally. I said, okay. I thought later, isn't that interesting they'd call me? My second thought was, of course they'd call me. Who else would they call? Now, I'm a farm boy from Idaho. I told you my story, raised in obscurity. At age 25, I'm broke. I got pennies in my pocket. I got nothing in my bank. Behind on my big mouth promises to my family. Then how come I get a telephone call not long ago offering me millions? Offering to pay me millions? Evidently, what? I've become much more valuable than I was at age 25. Is it possible to become worth millions? Is it possible to become worth millions? Yes. Now, Mr. Schoaf gave me the clue, and I'm going to give you one of the most incredible clues I've given you all day long. Schoaf said, it's very simple, Mr. Rohn. Here's all you have to do. Work harder. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Wow, that phrase changed my life. If you would have known me at age 25, here's what you would have said. Mr. Rohn's a hard worker. Yes, I was a hard worker on my job. And what did that get me? A living. It got me a living. Schoaf said, now, Mr. Rohn, the next years of your life, what I will teach you is how to go to work, not just on your job. I'll teach you how to go to work on yourself and make yourself much more valuable to the marketplace. And he said, you won't believe the change in income. You won't believe the change in promotion. You won't believe the change in fortune. He said, you can have all you want because you can work on yourself as much as you want. He said, here's the secret. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. If you work hard on your job, you'll make a living. If you work hard on yourself, you can make a fortune. I invite you on such a journey. Now, here's the next part. Personal development not just for economics. Personal development for your family. Personal development for your contribution to the country. The best contribution you can make to someone else is your own personal development. Become better than you are and stronger than you are and wiser than you are and more skilled than you are and more disciplined than you are. Think of what a treasure that will be for your wife and for your husband and for your children and for your family. Personal development is the best contribution you can make. Unique things said about God. Unique things said about God. One writer said this: His arm is not short. What a simple set of words to give us an incredible picture. Be reassured what? God's arm is not short. You cannot think of anything more pitiful than a God with a short arm. So short, couldn't what? Reach all the way. So short what? Couldn't reach everybody. This writer said, no, no, no. You do not have to worry about that. God's arm is not short. Not only can He reach all the way, He can reach everybody. What an incredible thing to be able to say about God. Shouldn't we be able to say that about every father? His arm is what? Not short. He can reach all of His children. His arm is not short. He can reach all the way. He's got a library second to none. He's got stories to illustrate any point He wants to. He's not short on reach. Allstate Insurance says it well, what? You're in good hands. Shouldn't that be well said of everybody? They've got good hands. Don't worry about the kids that go to this school. With the teacher they've got in that school, those kids are in good hands, hopefully. Don't worry about the kids that belong to this family. With those kind of parents, these kids are in good hands.